Greetings, Nick Burkott with Sweetwater here, and as you can probably tell from the vast array of Marshalls behind me, we're here to discuss some new Marshall products. Now, whenever Marshall releases something, there's always expectation and excitement, especially when it's all tube and there's a 100-watt head involved, and that's true in this case. This third generation range of DSLs features no fewer than 7 amps, 3 heads and 4 combos. I'm here to discuss the 3 heads, the 100-watt, the 20-watt and the 1-watt. We'll start by taking a quick walk through the features of this trio of amps, and we'll start by looking at the big boy to my left, the DSL 100HR. What's new? First up is the power switch. It goes from 100 watts down to 50, just as the old one did. But the old one did it via switching the output tubes from pentode to triode. That halved their power, but it also changed their tonality. It made them slightly warmer and less in your face, which is a good thing, by the way. But Marshall have used a different technique to reduce the power in the brand new DSL 100HR, and it is this. The way the new DSL drops its power is by reducing the voltage on the rails that are around the power amp. This is a clever way of halving the power of the tubes, but not changing their sonic character. So it's less power, same tone. Next change is a two-way switch. The old DSL came with one that switched the channels and the reverb on and off, and it looked like this. Pretty straightforward, but no LEDs. And the new one looks like this. Dun, dun, dun. It has LEDs. Now the first switch switches the channels as per usual, but the second switch doesn't switch reverb off and on, it switches the effects loop off and on, and Marshall did that because of feedback from users. So there you have it, channel switching and effects loop on and off. Pretty cool, and it's supplied. The next improvement is something Marshall are calling EQ refinement. What they've done here is smooth the highs out somewhat, making them warmer, and they've also added more low mids to the overall sound, giving it more of an American character, if you will. But don't worry, that classic punch in the chest roar of the 800 still remains intact, so all is well, my friends, all is well. Next change is this. The old DSLs didn't have a global master volume. This not only has a global master volume, it has 2, and they're switchable. We'll get onto that later, but there's master volume 1 and master volume 2, just like the JVMs, which means basically you can go from loud to stupidly loud. Another change is this. The new DSL has a speaker emulated output. It emulates the sound of the classic Marshall 1960 4x12 cabinet, and the emulation was done by no less than Universal Audio. Those are the guys who build all the plugins for the famous producers all over the planet. Then last, but by no means least, also on the rear panel is something that might scare certain guitar players. There's a MIDI input. By the way, don't let the MIDI thing freak you out. It's not a clever, sinister keyboard trap. It's just a way of making switching simpler. It not only allows you to switch channels, but switch between the modes. So I can go from clean to OD1, from crunch to OD2. I can also switch the effects loop on and off, and also switch between the 2 master volumes. Basically, it gets rid of tap dancing. Now I know what you're thinking. I don't have a MIDI pedal, but I want to be able to switch modes as well as channels, and they've only given me a 2-way foot switch, so how do I switch the master volume as well with a foot switch that doesn't have a master volume switch on it? Don't fret. Marshall are coming out with a 6-way foot switch, and it will have the 4 controls do the following. Button number 1, clean mode of classic channel. Button number 2, crunch mode of classic channel. Button number 3, OD1 of ultra gain. Button number 4, OD2 of ultra gain. The next one, effects loop. The next one, master volume. So you're in like Flint, so don't fret, it's all cool. The amp has maintained its tone shift feature on the EQ network. What this does is shift the mids, giving you a nice aggressive scoop, perfect for detuned crunchiness. So I'm going to swap guitars to something tuned down to C sharp and have at it. I'll let you hear a riff with the tone shift button out, then halfway through I'll hold a chord, press the button, put it in, and you can hear the difference. Now we're done with the big boy, let's take a look at the 20 and then the 1. So here we are plugged into the slightly smaller DSL 20HR, this bad boy behind me. This is 20 watts, but it has the power reduction again, which takes it down to about 10 watts. Once again, it does it by reducing the voltage of those rails in the power amp stage. And it still has the 2 channels, but they don't have modes. So it's still got classic and ultra channels. They've still got volume and gain for each one, but there's no modes to select from. It's one or t'other. Same 3-band EQ, same tone shift button. It still has resonance and presence. It has no master volume controls, but it does have a single reverb control, which is shared by both channels. It also has the speaker emulation on the back, and it also has the switchable effects loop. So it comes with that 2-way LED foot switch, channels, effects loop. So I'm going to change guitars and listen to the clean and the overdrive. And by the way, the lead tone I get, I've only got the gain at about 2 o'clock, so there's still 4 hours worth of gain to go. So there's a lot of gain there. So, and I've also got a chorus and a delay in the effects loop, just like I did for the intro. So here we go, clean then crunch. I love the clean, very sparkly and round and warm, and it even made me sound good. And the lead, like I said, there's lots more gain to go, so pretty cool. So now, last but certainly not least, let's go to the baby of the range. As you can see, it only has 7 controls. That's because it's a very small front panel. The classic gain only has a volume control. There's volume and gain for the ultra gain, then the 3 EQ knobs, bass, middle, and treble with the tone shift button, then a master reverb. There's no presence, there's no resonance, and there's no master volume. It still has an effects loop though, even though it's not foot switchable. This just comes with a 1-way LED foot switch that allows you to switch channels, but the series effects loop is there, and it also has the speaker emulated out. The power wattage drop is really, really massive, so you can play it at home and not upset anybody, not even your dog, unless you play badly. The tube complement of this little bad boy, by the way, is 2 12AX7s and 1 12U7, so it's still all tube. Incidentally, when you crank the volume of the clean channel all the way up, it gives a very loose but warm, not very typical Marshall overdrive. So I'm going to do a quick little blues jam using that because it's a different flavor for a Marshall, but it's a very, very nice one. Yeah, that was my best attempt, but hopefully you got a good idea of the sound. So what I'm going to do now is play out using chorus and delay in the effects loop, and also a little bit of phasing, which I also used incidentally on that little blues track to help hide the fact I'm not really a blues player at all, I'm just a hack. So, if you want more information about the DSLs, please go to the Sweetwater website, or better still, call your sales engineer and he or she will guide you through all the wonderful features. So I'm going to play out using the 1 watt. Once again, we're just miking it up and jamming along. Hope you've enjoyed this. Check out the new DSL. See ya.